Hey, this is Mo Lunsford at Union Grove Lumber Studios.
And this is the Shed Geek. We want to welcome you to today's episode. Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek podcast. And here in pine country, or am I in cotton country? I've seen a lot of cotton through here.
A lot of cotton, a lot of pines.
All right. Well, tell you what, Wayne, you want to give us your name, the name of your company, a little bit about who you are and what you do, and then we'll get rolling on the rest of it. But introduce yourself.
All right. I'm Wayne Nichols at Nichols Portable Buildings. Been here since 1980. Been in this area, this location, since 1987.
Okay.
And I own the land now, and so I don't have to show a major profit on my buildings.
There you go.
We treat our customers right. We're there on the spot when they need us, and we try to satisfy everybody.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down with us today. Certainly appreciate Mary taking the phone call. And what's exciting to me whenever I come down here, so we're in Georgia. Taylorsville.
Taylorsville, Georgia.
That's where we're at. What's exciting to me is that you've been in the shed business since 1980.
Yeah.
And the reason that's intriguing to me, and I think I told you not to tell my age, but I was born in 1980. So to find someone who's been in sheds that long, and even before that, I think you started building. Tell me a little bit about your shed journey. How'd you get started? Did you wake up one day and say, I want to be a shed guy, or how'd it happen?
No, just one building at a time. They liked it, they bought it, and I went on to the second one.
So you started manufacturing initially. You started building sheds.
What I did was I did a lot of remodeling, building, running siding, framing houses, and there was always leftovers. And I would save up my leftovers in a shed until I had enough to build a building. And then it got into doing that, and then it got into full-time buildings. And that's about all we do anymore.
So
buildings.
So you've got a nice property out here. I mean, you've got a big circular lot where there's carports and doghouses and all kinds of different styles of sheds. But what did it look like for you initially whenever you started selling sheds? I imagine pricing was quite a bit different.
Oh yeah, I mean it used to be $5.99 to $11.99, $12.99. Now it's $29.99, $39.99, and $49.99. Everything's went that much higher than what it used to be when I first started.
It seems like sheds just keep getting bigger.
They do.
Now,
People want bigger buildings, and I try to sell them a size bigger than they want to, because
they're going to need it.
They'll always need it. They'll always wish they'd have got that size bigger.
Yeah. No one ever comes back and says, I wish I'd have bought a smaller shed.
No.
But they always say, I wish I'd have bought a bigger shed. Yeah.
Bigger.
So it's just good practice to get them in what they're going to need.
And I try to give them good a price as I can. We're cheaper than anybody else, besides the fact that we build the best product in the industry by far. You won't find the overhang on buildings anywhere else except here.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Boxed in overhang all the way around every building that we build.
I'll tell you what, one thing that the industry really talks about is quality and wanting to provide. One thing I can appreciate from one manufacturer to the next is that seems to be a common theme that people want to provide to the customer. You notice a lot of people, they want to make sure that they're selling a good quality product. And you guys have been doing that for 43 years.
43 years.
Wow. Man, congratulations.
44 in March.
Well,
coming up.
That alone is saying a lot, because you've seen a lot. Now, did you ever haul sheds? Have you ever watched the process change over time? Do you guys do you haul your own sheds here?
We do our own delivery and setup.
Okay.
We do it from the ground up, and that way our customers are satisfied.
Yeah. You can control that delivery process, basically, which changes everything for them a little bit.
And when people need them moved, they call us, and we come move it from one location to another.
So So what's the biggest change you've seen in 43 years? What comes to mind?
This, what, 4 years ago when inflation hit, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I mean, we've had our recessions. You know, I've been through 3 recessions, I think, and seen a lot of slow times, and I've seen a lot of great times. And of course, we're in a dip right now, but it's because of inflation. Price of materials went from, and I buy a truckload at a time, went from around 10 to around 20. And now lumber's dropped just a hair, but not enough for me to change any pricing on my wood buildings.
Yeah.
Now, my aluminum and metal buildings, they're high right now, and I can't do anything about it.
What do you think? What's some of the changes you've seen in the sales process? A lot of guys are moving to this Amazon type marketplace, online sales, websites.
My son ran this place for me for 4.5 years, and he did a lot of online sales, and he did good on that. But he wanted to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so he did. And I've been back for 2 years. I don't like it, but I've been back for 2 years. I'm supposed to be retired. But I'm here.
So do you still like the idea of bringing a customer onto the lot? Do you see sort of the value in using the internet to get them here, and then use like what you know to work, like your sales processes? I imagine you take care of the customer. That's the thought whenever they come in the door.
We want to make sure that they get their money's worth, and they do from here. Anybody that buys from me will tell you that they got a great building, and we got great customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
They got a good driver, good helper, and they act like professionals when they're on the job. They come home and say, "Well, you got a great big tip."
Yeah.
Just about every time.
Yeah.
They really treat the customers good.
Have you been on like shed deliveries over?
I used to do it. I've done it for years.
What's that look like different now?
It's not much different. I'm still using the same trailer that I made 40 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding. So you made the trailer, do that delivery?
Well, I didn't do the welding, but I bought the material, took it to him, and he built them for me.
And you've been using that 43 years. That's awesome.
Well, one of them's 43 years old, one of them's 40 years old, and one of them's 30-something years old.
But those are ones that you like made or deliver, like kind of put together. Like you didn't buy them already made to haul sheds or anything.
We put rollers on the back. Now they got my competition has mules and stuff like that they can put them in tight spots, but we get them in tight spots too.
So you do it without using a mule.
Way.
Man, I feel like I gotta come down here and go on a delivery.
Yeah,
at some point and watch how you guys do things. It's amazing to think that like what's been proven all these years still works. Yeah. It's easy to, and it is easy to get caught up in the new ways of doing things. And there's a lot of value in some of these new programs and different things that are brought to the table, but I mean, still kicking and still doing well, right?
Yep. I'm still having no problems getting them in. Now, sometimes they want them back further than they really should be.
Yeah.
We get them there.
Yeah.
We get them there.
So do you guys use pipes and
winches? We got winches on our delivery trucks. And
yeah.
we get them there.
Whatever it takes.
Yep.
Whatever it takes.
Is your current sales and inventory management system complicated and frustrating? Are you tired of juggling multiple systems to keep track of your business? Those challenges are a thing of the past with a dealer management system powered by RTO National. With the DMS, you can easily process any type of sale with just a few clicks. Leave messy paperwork in the past and welcome in streamlined processes. The intuitive e-commerce links allows customers to browse and shop your inventory anytime, anywhere. Track transportation, payments, and contracts efficiently using our unparalleled service request management and transportation tracking tools. Detailed reporting within the system allows you to track every sale and payment, helping you make data-backed decisions to grow your business. Revolutionize your current workflow with the dealer management system. Explore the user-friendly interface and experience the DMS firsthand by scanning the QR code or emailing us at contactus@rtonational.com to request a demo.
So have you been here? You said you were at this location since 87.
Yeah, for 87. Yeah.
But you've pretty much been in and around Taylorville most of the time, or?
Yeah, I lived here before I bought the land.
Okay.
They had an auction, and who bought it, the idea was he had to sell me a portion of it. And then the guy that bought it, buy Lowe's in Rockmart, he sold me a piece where I could put my home in the back part. Then it kept buying it piece at a time, till I finally got it all.
There's quite a bit of road frontage here.
This highway frontage is probably 2,000 foot of highway frontage, and then there's another 1,000 foot of Taft Road frontage.
So what kind of acreage do you have here?
11 and a half.
11 and a half. Yeah, I bet you've got buildings on, 3 or 4 of it anyway. And then but besides sheds, you guys do a little bit more. You guys do some custom builds.
Yeah, anything they want, we'll build it.
So on-site garages.
On-site build it. We've got track hose. We got bobcats. We got everything it takes to dig a foot and form it up, pour slabs, you name it.
The industry, we travel all around. We travel into all kinds of different states, and we see a multitude of the ways that people do business. Whether they maintain like vertical integration and they kind of do everything in-house, they do their own building, their own hauling, their own sales, their own a little bit of everything. And then some outsource that. But even beyond that, we see it's hard to see a shed lot anymore without carports on it, where they sell carports as well.
Is a must.
You guys have doghouses out here. Yeah. We'll get some pictures of them. They're just awesome doghouses. And you were kind of talking about how that takes up your scrap. So you're using it up. Even if you don't make any money on it, you're at least getting
we don't make
scrap.
Any money on doghouses, but we're not burning our scraps either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
putting them to good use.
That's right. It's just a testimony to, being frugal and using everything that you can.
Well, we got to.
Yeah, that's right. And then you guys
Waste not, want not.
Yeah, that's right. You guys do some garages as well. But now all of that goes under Nichols. You consider that all to be like
Nichols Portable Buildings.
Nichols Portable Buildings, but
it all goes under the same head.
Yeah. Have you seen a change with the customers wanting bigger buildings, post frame and things like that?
We sell more big buildings now than we ever did.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of people is living in my buildings.
Yeah. That's been, have you noticed that really take off recently? Was that in the 80s and 90s and 2000s? You didn't see much of that, right?
There was some of it, they'd buy 12 by 24 or something like that. And then when we wouldn't make the payments, we'd have to go repossess it and they'd be living in it.
Yeah.
We'd have to wait on them to move out before we could take the building.
Yeah.
And we try to encourage them to keep their payments up.
Yeah.
And because after a while, I would save up my paper and then sell it to a finance company. And then they would send me after the buildings.
Yeah.
We tried to work with people when we held the paper, but when we didn't hold the paper, we had to do what they said.
Yeah. Well, that's something else that's just changed. I mean, things like RTOs become so competitive. I mean, we have, ourselves, I've worked in different parts of the industry and even tried to figure out for myself with the podcast, what's the way to keep it moving forward, and we sort of jumped into the marketing side, and I'm sure there's other things we want to be involved in to allow for us to continue to do this travel, this journey across the country, talking to shed people, whether it be haulers or manufacturers. We're heading down to Montezuma this weekend, and they're having like a shed hauler like barbecue event down there. So we're going to go down there and just hang out with a bunch of shed haulers. And
That's not too far from Vidalia,
yeah.
where Larkin Buildings comes from.
Okay. Yeah. Which is one of the manufacturers that you move their product. But then you build some of your own too. So you don't just
sell more of ours than we do anybody else's.
Yeah. Now,
Except for maybe carports. I can't touch the prices on the carports.
Sure.
Because our wood buildings cost a lot more for a carport.
Well, totally different product.
Totally different product.
Different customer.
People like them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're bound to. People who need carports. They're trying to cover a car, an RV, or something like that. Of buildings for traditional storage. Do you feel like most people still want a shed for traditional storage? Is that the main reason why people come in?
Yeah. And many warehouses are going up everywhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people pay rent to keep their stuff in there when they can buy a building. And even if they buy it on credit, in 3 or 4 years it's paid for.
Yeah.
They don't ever have to pay for it again.
It's in your backyard. It's convenient.
Where you can get to it anytime you want to.
Do you see those mini storage units as more if we were to call them competition, is that sort of the market that we have more an area to move into? It's like I often say, Tyler Mahan was a guy I interviewed early on in the podcast. We're coming up on 200 episodes before long, and he was one of the first maybe 10 episodes we did. And he said, a rising tide lifts all boats, and we've kind of ran with that for almost 3 years now. And he said, I don't really see other shed guys as my competition as much as I do these little mini, storage places popping up all over the place, and
some of them are climate controlled. They just built one down the road here, and it's a nice building.
Yeah.
And then they got a big gravel parking lot. I guess they're going to park campers and stuff out there.
But there's no ownership, like you said. So
you never own it.
You're with a mini barn, you're taking that little unit that you're renting, and we're just sticking it right in your backyard until you own it. Whether you pay cash or whether you buy it on RTO payments, at least you have a path to ownership. Yep. What do you do to explain that to your customer? Do they care?
Well, we can get our payments down to what they're paying in rent at the storage.
Yeah.
And then one day they don't have to pay for it anymore.
Yeah.
It's theirs.
Hello, shed seller. Do you feel like some days you are on an island trying to navigate through the complexity of perfecting your shed sales process? For years, the shed seller has often had the do the best you can standard. At Shed U, we want to help you make doing the best you can more than guesswork with a proven shed sales process. Shed U was created for you, the shed seller, and aims to help you, the shed seller, learn the best techniques for selling sheds. How do we do that? Elements of Shed University include shed education you deserve as a shed seller, such as sales process management, lead follow-up, and sales script development. But wait, there's more. Attending Shed U is double the fun, because after you attend Shed U on January 23rd and 24th of 2024 at the Knoxville Convention Center, you can attend the Garage Shed Carport Builder Show on January 24th and 25th. That's right. All registrants for Shed U receive complimentary admission to the GSCB show, which includes even more educational opportunities. If you have been wanting to improve your shed sales process for yourself or your sales team, be sure to attend Shed University, the obvious choice to grow your shed sales. At Shed University, class is now in session. Are customers just so impulsive that they don't care, that they don't think about it? They just go to those places and just do it, and they don't even
move around a lot. Now they rent many warehouses because it's hard to carry a building around with you everywhere you go if you move a lot. But people that live in one spot and that's where they're going to live, then that's our customer.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's the biggest area of opportunity. I did a speaking engagement recently, and I was one in Oklahoma and one in Kentucky. And I pointed out to the one, I think it was in Kentucky, we were near Lexington. And I said to the audience, I said, you know who the richest lady is in Kentucky? And they said, no, we don't have a clue. And I told them, I said, you know, do the research and you'll find that she's in the storage business. They just are in what I think it's called public storage. So there's, you know, those are all over the United States. And I'm not trying to draw her attention by mentioning that. I'm only mentioning it for the purpose of, you know, she has made a good living in storage. The difference is it's not portable storage. And that just goes to show that there's opportunity. Now, I understand in the HOAs and in the more urban communities, it's a little bit more difficult because they have restrictions and such. So some of them have to use these mini warehouses you're talking about, but mini storage units.
You'd be surprised. There's very few subdivisions that will not allow our builders. I mean, very few, if any, that won't allow our builders, because when we get them there, they match their house. They bring colors in. We match their house. We match the shingles. We match the trim. When we back it in there, it's part of their house.
And because you do that, you can pretty well meet all those requirements.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for in the HOAs, is like to keep it presentable. And by having everything matching, it looks nice, keeps the property value up, which is what everybody's going for. And you hit some pretty major markets. You're close enough to Atlanta, Dalton, Chattanooga.
I don't like Atlanta. The traffic just drives us crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Down there in traffic, it's more than we can handle.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of crazy drivers out there that don't pay attention to wide loads.
Well, you're out here in the country. It's nice and quiet.
I like it out here.
You got a stare right out the window and see a power plant. That's probably
halfway between Cartersville and Rockmart.
Okay.
And that's where most of our business is. Both those, and Cedartown, Dallas, Canton, Rome, all around us.
But yeah, what's the story with the power plant? Has that come in since? Was that here before you got here?
Yeah, it's been here a lot longer than I have.
Okay.
It was. Now, you know, that's a coal burner.
Okay.
Everybody thinks of it as a nuclear plant because of the way it looks.
Yeah.
But it's a coal burner, but they spent over $1 billion making it clean coal technology.
Okay.
And it went from, they said went from 95 down to 2%.
So it's right here, right out your front door. I mean, you can't get no closer. You can almost throw a baseball and hit
When
it.
I first moved here, they had a car wash set up over there where we could drive through and get your car washed for free.
No kidding.
Because acid rain was a thing back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I'd go over there every day with one of my trucks and wash them every day just to keep that acid from it'd eat the hood off and the top of the truck off.
So what's
now? You can breathe easy out here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're breathing clean air.
Well, I know even Chattanooga did a lot of changes in the 90s, because they had just a terrible amount of smog. The hills, kept a lot of the smog, and they went under like a major restoration. I'm not just a shed geek, Wayne. I like history, and just I can't travel to a place and not look up information on it. What's there, what's the history behind it. I'm just a natural historian in general, and
Atlanta used to have smog, but not anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, it's clean.
Yeah,
when a clear day, you can see as far as you want to see.
There has been a lot of changes for the better that we've seen.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a customer ask you about how to supply power to their shed? Do you sell electrical kits as an upsell for your sheds currently? Do you want an easy, no-hassle option to offer for your customers when they want to add electric to their sheds? Check out EcoEthics Solar. EcoEthics Solar is looking for shed manufacturers and shed dealers who want to be able to provide a solar electric option to their line of sheds. With EcoEthics Solar, you can purchase the SunSaver, a solar product specifically designed with the shed owner in mind. Want to offer a larger product that can operate a full tiny home? At EcoEthics Solar, they have the necessary product, training, and capacity to meet your customers' needs. Installation for the SunSaver is simple and takes just 45 minutes. You can even install it right there in your sales lot or at the manufacturing facility. EcoEthics Solar even provides hands-on in-person training if necessary. Plus, they will provide you with video tutorials and handouts with specific installation instructions that keeps adding a solar-powered electrical system to your shed fast and simple. In many cases, the end user can even perform the installation once the shed is delivered to their home. If you are interested in purchasing a unit for display and then drop shipping your orders or even ordering multiple units to have available as you build, contact my friends at EcoEthics Solar at 336-250-1284 or email sales@ecoethicsolar.com.
So what's kind of the story on the local community? That they you feel like they support you? You've been here for so long. Have you kind of leveraged that?
I got regular customers and people that talk. Word of mouth is, we don't do any advertising.
Yeah.
We don't do any.
Yeah.
And we did for years, but we stopped it.
Because you've got 40 years then now. I mean, people know you. They know what they're going to get.
Who I am. They know where I've been, and I've been right here, and I'll be right here.
Referrals is I often say referrals is the untapped potential for most salespeople, because your best salesperson is not you; it's a happy customer.
Yeah.
And when they go back and tell everybody else, it's an unbiased opinion, because they can either they'll talk about the real stuff that not everybody talks about in the sales process. They'll talk about, yeah, I'm happy with this, I'm not happy with this, but generally speaking, that's the best place to go to get you a shed. So I can't help but think that you have a really big advantage when you've been in business for 43 years.
It's hard to go down a street without looking and seeing the Nichols building.
Yeah.
Any street, in
That's
any
awesome.
town around me, they're everywhere.
Man, just the fact you've been doing it
Thousands of them.
43 years. So what's been your philosophy along the way? Like, what's been your approach?
Treat people like I want to be treated. And I don't want to be ignored. If somebody's out on the lot, we're going to wait on them. And if they want to be left alone, we know that too. If they just want to shop, that's all. You know, a lot of times they just hand them a brochure and they're happy.
What would you say has been the biggest challenge in 43 years of doing this?
Inflation. And it's just happened in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's really got bad. Inflation is a bad word around here.
Retail just struggles as you see the interest rates increase. And
I hate to see that too.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter days all over again.
Yeah. Georgia guy, right? Yeah. Georgia. So does that mean y'all?
17%.
I was about to say, does that mean you celebrate Jimmy Carter down here? Or?
No, we don't. He should have never come out of the peanut farm.
Yeah. Well, what was his brother, Billy Beer? Isn't that what his brother
Billy
did?
Beer.
Yeah, and the
I
peanut
tried some
farm.
of that stuff one time and spit it out.
Well, it seems like, his heart for the Habitat for Humanity seems really good, but man, he gets a bad rap for his time as president.
I like Habitat for Humanity. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And they built a lot of houses.
Yeah. We sort of talked about, we didn't go into detail. So me and you, the audience might not know this, but typically we'd take some time to get to know each other. A lot of guys that are guests on the show I've known for, several years at times, and just like through different times meeting people in the industry, whether it be at the Shed Expo or just, my own adventures, different things and stuff like that. But me and you didn't know each other, and whenever we talk, we're learning a lot about each other.
Well, the only person that you've ever talked to is Mary Nell.
Yeah,
and she told me about this, and she's the one who set it up. So she, very, very kind. I appreciate her even taking the call and giving us a chance to do this. Everybody loves her to death.
Yeah. It's appreciated. But one of the things that we connected on almost immediately, I see the Bible sitting on your desk, and we talked about you being a believer. What's sort of been your
Born again,
Amen.
Pentecostal.
There you go. Amen. That's great. So what's been your journey through that?
Well, I struggled through my life without God in my life, and I said 10, 12 years ago maybe, I turned my life back around. I was raised in church, but I finally turned my life back around. And I'm sorry that I didn't live my whole life as a Christian, but now I want to live for God.
Amen.
Do what He wants.
One thing
What He wants me to do. And I pray every morning that He'll lead me and guide me in the way He wants me to go. Just following what He tells me to do.
I always tell people I don't know how to separate my life from my ministry, from my business. They all just run together.
They have to.
So I've had even people say, well, why do you talk about, God on the podcast? Or why can't you leave politics or religion out of it? And I said, well, I don't know that I focus on politics and religion. I don't know that we call this a political or a religious show. I just don't shy away from difficult conversation just because it's difficult. I don't pretend to have it all figured out. Okay. But I know that God is real. I know what He's done for me. And I don't know how I can deny that in the face of that's just business.
Well, my birthday is March the 16th, and John 3:16.
Oh, yeah.
It says,
That's awesome.
God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in Him will not perish but have everlasting life.
I love it. The fact that he was born on March 16th, probably
3:16.
just a little something special. I love that. So my calling early on, and again, we haven't had the chance to talk, but part of my calling was really, jail and prison ministry and addiction ministry and things like that. Hebrews 13:3 says, be with those in prison as though you're in prison yourself. And, I kind of had a wild streak, whenever I was young. And I feel like, people showed me the true meaning of agape love, and God certainly did when He gave me the grace and mercy to allow me to even have this platform or have a opportunity to everything I do is owed to Him, right?
What He tells me to do.
Obedience is greater than sacrifice, as the word says. So I just try to be obedient to whatever the next step is. And, He's blessed this opportunity for 2.5 years. I'd like to see it go another 5. That's the plan we're working on. If I get 10 out of it, I think I can get 5 more. If I can do an additional 2.5 and say I've been doing this for 10 years, I'll consider it, grateful. And I don't have any vision past that, but I do have good vision for the next 5 years to focus on that. And other things will kind of creep in. You know what I mean? We have started doing marketing, so I mean, like we do involve ourselves in the industry. We don't just advertise, but we welcome, even quote unquote competitors to come on or advertise with us. We don't, I believe that God has a goal for all of us. The Bible says He'll take care of the birds of the air. He'll take care of me too. He has a plan for each of us. Jeremiah 29 says that. So He has a plan for us. And, I kind of feel like there's times I might win in business, but there are other times I might win in other ways.
Lay your treasures up in heaven.
That's right. That's right. You knew where I was going. I could tell.
So where you got to lay them up because thieves can't get to them.
Hey, pull over. I want to take a look at that cool looking shed right there.
That is a sharp looking shed. I've been looking to purchase a shed myself.
Well, stop on in. Let's ask the owner where he got it.
Oh, shucks. It doesn't appear anyone's home. Guess we'll have to come back tomorrow.
Wait. There's a nameplate on that shed. And there's a phone number. And a website.
Great. Let's give them a call.
Identigrow, helping identify your shed brand for over 20 years.
I love as much that we talk about it. So about God on things. If it's natural to talk about, and always, I always welcome the opportunity. There are times that we might talk about something a bit political in nature, but it's not to create stress, but or differences or, whatever. But those things happen. And I think if you approach them maturely, I think that you can have even disagreements, different conversations. So, it's a podcast about sheds, but I've had people say, well, why do you talk about these different things? And I just recently, Wayne, did a podcast in Pennsylvania, and I stand by what I said then. I mean it now. For those who say that don't want to be affiliated or won't, whether it be advertising or on the show, because we do talk about God, because it could possibly be offensive to their listeners or other people. My message to those people is to be offended then, because I can't not do it.
I don't want anybody to be offended with me because I'm in business, but I will say this: I love the Lord.
Yep.
And I pray for Israel.
Yeah.
Every night.
That's right.
That's what the Bible tells us to do. Pray for Israel. It is safety.
This is a common thing among a lot of the shed industry that I do appreciate, is that not just that it's a conservative industry, but really that it's a Bible believing industry.
Bible belt.
Yeah, that's right. You're on the buckle.
Yep.
Right here in it. Well, I appreciate your testimony and your story, and I noticed I got some friends signage around here, so we might as well give them a shout out while we're here. It looks like you got some RTL National signage hanging up here.
Good company.
They've been just stellar in everything that they've dealt with me on. I appreciate them so much. 20 years recently, I got to celebrate with them at their anniversary, and I've said for a long time they're a great company, and they've just been very gentlemen to me in our process, and I hope that we can continue to have a good long-term relationship, not just with them, but even with others, whether it be in the RTO world or whether it be just suppliers in the industry. Our goal is to help maintain what competitive advantages we can have, but it's never to limit others, because hey, we're all in business to make it.
Yeah. Well, our gazebos are Mennonite made, and I know Bob from Lark. He's a good man. We've sold his buildings for a lot of years. I don't like to build metal buildings, so he had a nice line of buildings, and he still got a nice line of buildings, and we sell those.
And then you do use the third party for rent own, but outside of that, you're pretty much do everything in house. Sounds like. Who's
a lot of people now are wanting porches on their buildings, and we got some in stock now, and we're trying to build more.
Now, who's your rep for
Teddy?
Teddy comes around for RTL National. Good guy, good company.
Oh,
yeah. They've been a blessing to us as well. And we like I say, we appreciate them, but just wanted to make sure we give them a shout out while we're on here. Any other shout outs you could think of? I know you mentioned Bob, but anybody else you can think of in 43 years of the shed industry that's kind of you appreciate, you're thankful for, or anything like that?
All my customers.
Yeah.
Each and every one of them.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for your business.
That's great. I love it. I typically will, I know that you probably don't know this, but I'll typically give the person on the other end of the microphone an opportunity to interview me for a second, just to generate conversation, whether it's personal, podcast related, shed related, you name it. Is there any questions you have for me on the Shed Geek podcast that I can answer? I'd love to.
Did you have your own company?
So no. Well, yeah, I did, but just a shed lot. Well, like we didn't manufacture. Manufacturing was something that I really wanted to get into at one point. We first got started. So I started in purchasing, believe it or not, in the shed industry. Had a good pastor friend of mine who was a childhood friend that got the job for me. and I appreciated it. And I stepped away to do some ministry for a short time and ended up back in sheds, selling sheds, owned a couple lots, truck and trailer. And I realized real quick, wait a minute, this isn't the place for me. That's not where I'm supposed to be. And ended up in working RTO work and different things. And just, my wife found out she had cancer. I needed to find a way to stay home and take care of her. We've been married for 23 years. So one of the things I was worried about was going out and working, trying to gain business. And I couldn't do that. And I just thought, Lord, help me find a way to get in front of people so that they might know who I am. That way, if they want to work with me, they'll know who they're getting, right? There's lots of good guys to talk to out there and work with out there, but the only way I know how to do it was to like be vulnerable. And part of that was seeing that people were asking for more resources in the industry, a way to connect. Sometimes you feel like you're on an island by yourself in sales. So they kind of wanted to connect with other people to say, hey, I'm sinking over here. Is that happening everywhere? Or is it just me? Do I need to change something? So we just kind of was an avid podcast listener. I love to read, love to listen to audiobooks going down the road. And it just hit me, God sort of put it on my heart to maybe you could start a podcast. And I thought, man, I don't know. Can I do that? Is that? And I've always had a trailblazer mentality, Wayne. I've never been the kind of guy to sit too long. I'm ready to try something new, do something, and just give it a shot. So I didn't own my own company. Shed Geek is what I own. The Shed Geek brand from there is kind of ventured out now to where you have the podcast, you have Shed Geek Marketing, and we're looking to create some more opportunities in the future, and hope that people will embrace those, as we go. And so that's the long answer. The short answer is I never owned a shed manufacturing like you do. Just a sales lot, a couple sales lots.
Yeah, and we've went from building 100 buildings a day up to 500 buildings, a year, to building 500 a year, back down to 100 a year.
Yeah. You've seen
we went up and down.
You've seen the growth, and then you've seen the decline and all of it. I think that's awesome. Any other questions that come to mind, or?
No, just seemed like a nice guy.
I try to be. Some would agree. I try to get my wife convinced of that anyway. After 23 years.
We'll pray for you.
Hey man, I appreciate that. I believe that we're all here for a purpose. You know what I mean? And I think if we can make the industry better, make the client, the customers, experience better. A lot of times I say, when we were selling sheds, I would say, you can tell when God sort of puts a mission in front of you. There was days we didn't sell a building. We just might pray with a customer that day because you could tell they were down in it. And if you have your eyes open to the guidance of the Holy Spirit and He's leading you, then you'll see. A lot of times you think you're in business and you're in ministry. That's it. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I wasn't here today to sell somebody a building, but I was here to pray with that customer who came in. And, you ever heard I was talking to somebody today and you'll like this. I said, you ever heard truth is stranger than fiction? And they say, yeah, I've heard that. I said, well, I think that's what happens when you take the mask of business off and you put on the mask of transparency and you say, this is who I am. This is what I do. People almost can't believe it because they're so guarded because of business. Mm-hmm. And I think that if we can just shift to where you don't know the difference in business and friendship, I know that's hard because there comes a time where you have to make a business decision, so you just have to communicate that.
There's no way you'll ever satisfy everybody, but you can try.
You and my wife would agree, but I continue to try to.
I
I continue to try to do the opposite, and I've learned the more that you go, you can't. But what you can control, Wayne, is who you are, how you react to things, and who you're going to be.
Do with it too. My reaction sometimes is not exactly the way it ought to be.
Yeah, well, you ain't alone. You ain't alone. But I'll tell you what, God offers grace, mercy, forgiveness. And if it wasn't for him, where would we be? So I appreciate all the listeners. I hope you get something out of this each week. We've, been putting 2 a week out consistently for some time. That will probably maintain throughout 2024. There's a good chance we may go back to 1 episode a week. I'd really like to get eventually to where I could do like a series. Most people binge listen. There's a couple of faithful people that listen every Wednesday, every Thursday, and I appreciate them. But a lot of people will binge listen. They'll tell me they'll go back and listen to 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes in a row and get caught up where they haven't listened for a while. And we'll try our best to just keep good quality content out there. I probably get some of the best feedback from shows like today, where people say, man, I didn't know that guy, or I did know him way back then. And to see him come all this way all these years later, that's kind of cool. Or just to hear your testimony and your story of 43 years. Thank you for paving the way. Like I told you, you started in this business the year I was born. So there wouldn't be this opportunity for me if it wasn't for guys like you. So even though I didn't know you and just met you, thank you. I appreciate that. So.
Well, thank you for coming out.
I'll tell you what, I'll say a little prayer over us real quick, if that's all right, and then we'll get out of here. All right. Lord, thank you for this day, this opportunity, and this new friendship made. Ask that you'd just bless Wayne and all of his employees and customers to come in, that you'd give him clarity on his mission day in and day out, and that you would protect this industry and keep us moving forward, and that we'd keep you first in all that we do. Thank you for new friendships, and thank you for safety as we travel. I ask that you'd bless this Shed Holler Barbecue as we're there in Montezuma this weekend, that you'd use that for your purpose. I ask that you protect the whole industry as we move forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you for listening to today's episode